girls are outside with no pants or no pants, no bra, no nothing. Guys, where are we? What are we doing, please?
People are like, how do you not wear it with jeans? Da, 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 da. You get used to it. You get used to the rubbing. It's fine.
Guys, I don't know. It's too much for me. I don't know. I don't know if I'd be encouraging you guys to wear no underwear with jeans, guys. No, I wouldn't.
Here's the thing. When people say they want me to wear Spanx, it's not that they actually want me to wear Spanx. It's that they want me to hide my body.
No. See? It escalates really quickly. No. There's been a really interesting shift in fashion over the last few years, and strangely, it starts underneath the clothes.
I hate underwear. Just for the coup, I hate underwear.
More and more women are choosing not to wear bras.
My favorite thing is not wearing a bra and just going around in public like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Shapewear, slips, sometimes even underwear altogether.
I don't wear underwear at all, ever.
And it's being framed as freedom. Freedom from discomfort, freedom from unrealistic beauty standards, from structure, from restriction.
I am so tired of wearing these Spanx.
But I don't think this shift is just about comfort. I think it says something much bigger about how women relate to their bodies now.
Like, I feel so much healthier and cleaner now that I've stopped wearing underwear.
And how fashion itself has changed. Because for a long time, undergarments were considered part of getting dressed. They shaped silhouettes, changed how clothes sat on the body, and honestly determined whether an outfit looked polished or chaotic. But now we're living in a culture that increasingly treats any kind of structure or effort as oppressive, fake, or trying too hard.
But fat girls, you ain't got to wear shapewear if you don't want to.
And I started noticing the conversation around style has quietly changed from how do I want to present myself to how do I feel the least restricted or look as hypersexual as possible.
That walk that I had was the most sexiest, most freeing, most liberating walk I've ever had. I didn't know you feel so much freedom with no panties.
So I wanted to explore what's actually happening here culturally and whether abandoning structure has made us feel more authentic or just less intentional. Hi babes, my name's Taja, your guide to intentional luxe style. Please accept my request to join the group chat. Today we're discussing why no one's wearing underwear. Over time, the way that we engage with fashion and even undergarments, it seems to evolve and change. And in more recent times, I've definitely been noticing that the people are just refusing to wear underwear. I think the reason for this is quite complex and has influences from loads of different areas, including social media. I think we definitely have been seeing more hypersexualized fashion in mainstream. I do know that sexy fashion has always been there, but definitely a bit more mainstream, as we've seen BBL fashion grow in popularity, and you know, IG baddies, all that kind of thing has been really popular over the last few years. And simultaneously to that, I do think there's been a bit of a casualization of fashion, definitely I would say in the last couple of years. It just seems that nobody really wants to make an effort anymore. Nobody's really making an effort when they go out. People are outside in their pajamas, in the supermarkets with rollers in their hair, bonnets on, all kinds of things are going on. And ultimately what has happened is that people seem to just not really care about wearing appropriate underwear anymore. And in my opinion, this has really led to people really misunderstanding what wearing no underwear and or not giving consideration to the type of underwear you wear, depending on the outfit you're wearing, depending on where you're going, depending on the environment that you're going into, depending on context. The consequence of people abandoning all of these concepts has meant that the girls and guys are very much outside being perceived in ways that I do not think that they intend, and giving off signals to other people with how they are presenting that are not entirely positive. We have had a lot of people online telling us to not worry about what you're wearing, just wear what you want. You don't want to wear underwear, don't wear underwear. If you don't want to wear that bra, that's getting on your nerves, don't wear the bra. If you don't want to wear a wire, I think for a time the girls had an issue with the wide bras. Don't wear a wide bra, just put on a sports bra. Okay, so everybody is now outside, guys, and we're getting to summer, okay? Everybody's now outside free balling. Okay, and it's not always giving what we intend. So today we're going to discuss how we got here, and for those of you who might be interested in how we might present better, if that is what you want, you know, you've got a goal to achieve, there's a room you want to be in, something like that. If you've got any of those challenges ahead, then we're going to discuss how we might navigate it, even if we don't want to wear underwear. I found myself thinking a lot about how people actually build personal style and presentation in real life, because once you start noticing small decisions like what underwear you wear, you realize how much they shape the way people are perceived, even when nothing obvious has changed. That's part of what's led me to open a small waitlist for private consultations, where I'll be working more closely with people to develop intentional presentation and refine their style direction. I'll leave a link to the waitlist down below. Underwear began as a simple practical garment thousands of years ago, mainly used to protect the body, absorb sweat, and keep expensive outer clothing clean. Ancient civilizations like Egypt, Greece, and Rome wore basic linen or cloth undergarments for comfort and hygiene, while in medieval Europe, people relied on washable linen layers beneath heavy clothing. Over time, underwear also became connected to modesty and social status, especially as cleaner, finer fabrics were seen as signs of wealth. By the Renaissance and Victorian eras, undergarments such as corsets, chemises, and bloomers were designed not only for the protection but also to shape the body according to changing beauty standards. The Industrial Revolution made underwear more affordable and widely available, and in the 20th century, new fabrics, elastic materials, and mass production transformed it into a modern fashion item. So over centuries, we have seen the purpose for undergarments evolve over time. However, definitely in my lifetime and my experience, undergarments have been used to create a foundation for my outfits, right? So when I was a teen or a young adult, the women around me provided guidance around appropriate underwear. For example, I used to attend the Seventh-day Adventist church, and I used to go to church, and actually my nan used to have tights in her bag. So if I ever turned up at church with maybe a skirt with no tights on, she would take the tights out of the bag and give them to me and send me to the bathroom to put them on. I think for most women, a rite of passage is going and getting your bra fitted, and they'll teach you about the different bras whilst you're there, or you'll have somebody guide you around the different bras that are available or the different underwear that's available for you. And I haven't always got this right? I do remember one of the first jobs I had, I wore a dress and I wore a bra that had lace on it. And I don't know if somebody mentioned it to me or if I just noticed looking in the mirror that you could see the embossing of the lace bra under my dress. And I remember after that intentionally going for bras that didn't have any lace on them, you know, more like t-shirt bras. And so I do think that the journey through finding the appropriate underwear, especially as a woman, can take some time, right? Especially if you're a young woman, you're a young girl maybe, and you're trying to think about what knickers are most comfortable, when in the month to wear particular knickers, for what occasions you might have a strapless bra or a backless bra. There are loads of options available now. So my expectation is definitely not that we always get it right. Even sometimes getting fitted for bras and things, you'll get fitted and then you're still uncomfortable. So it can take a bit of time to figure out what size is best for you. Brands vary quite a lot, so you might be a 36A in one brand and a 34B in another brand, and the same goes for knickers or shorts or something that I might wear on my bottom. That has definitely taken me some time to figure out, right, what knickers you might wear where you don't see your panty line, what clothes show your panty line. You know, there's loads of areas as women that I think we have to spend time with ourselves to figure out. Right? I do think with undergarments, it's a bit of trial and error, and especially if you don't sit inside of what might be considered standard, right? So if you're maybe a bit busty, maybe if you've got a bit of a bigger bum, you might need a bit more time to find what works right for you. It's not always easy to access. However, I do think that we have moved from what I would consider to just be the natural journey of a human around finding the right undergarments that fit you and that you feel comfortable in and that works with your outfit and works with the context. We've moved from that, I think, into an area that is a little bit more extreme. And the area that it's moved into that's gotten a bit more extreme is actually a bit two-pronged. I think for a long time, it has just been about being sexy. Okay, and I absolutely put this down to celebrity and influencer culture, right? For a time, at least maybe the last 15 years, there has just been this leaning, I would say extreme leaning into hypersexualization and into just being as sexy as you can be, especially with celebrities like the Kardashians just being so popular, and some of the styling choices that they and women like them were wearing, especially when like Yeezy was super popular. The girls were kind of just wearing spandex one pieces. And if you know anything about undergarments, it is very hard if you are wearing something that's maybe lycra, and a full lycra jumpsuit is going to take quite a bit of navigation to make it all look smooth, Okay, and I think part of what the people were using to create a silhouette, which I think a lot of the celebrities most of the time are trying to achieve more of an hourglass silhouette, right? So what the celebrities and the influencers were doing to try and achieve this look was surgery, okay? Just leaning very much into surgery. And so instead of underwear being used as foundation garments, right? So you might wear a bra that provides a bit of extra lift, or a knicker that doesn't have any lace or anything on it so that you can maybe get a bit more cleavage. People started to use surgery to create the actual foundations, which for many people meant loads of surgeries. And actually the trickle-down effect of celebrity and influencer culture was that there were people online, and actually there still is people online who are talking about how many surgeries they've got. You know, they're going for 4th round BBL, 6th round liposuction, okay, to try and get almost like a built-in hourglass shape, okay? And I do know, of course, there are some women who are naturally curvaceous. There are some women who naturally have an hourglass shape. However, I think that the standard, the expectation for the human female form just got really, really extreme. Now it's almost as though the body can't have an off day. Okay, the body can't have an off day. You always have to have a really, really flat, narrow stomach. You always have to have a big bazooka, a big bum on the back end, okay? And you need to always have very, very full breasts, okay? And this standard was and continues to be just really unrealistic for the human body, because as women, as humans, our bodies go through fluctuations, our bodies go through changes over time, okay? Which I think is also part of the reason why a lot of the celebrities, a lot of the girls have to continuously be at the surgeon's office. Like they have a lifetime subscription of being on the surgery table, because if you don't have the lifetime subscription, something's going to shift at some point, okay? It's just a human body. Something's going to move.
Saw the photo that Dr. Dubrow showed me of what could potentially happen, and it ended up happening. I must have had 8 to 10 procedures to get me back to where I'm at now. I had to inject my own blood to produce collagen under my eyes 2 different times, a month apart. I had to do radio frequency lasers twice. I had to do microneedling, make it less puffy here, dissolve more filler that I didn't even know was there. It all just migrated. So I hope nobody else goes and gets under eye filler. It's so dangerous. It's not worth the risk, and it's not worth all the recovery I had to go through to get back to here.
Okay, so the idea that you have to have, you know, perfectly perky boobs and a perfectly perky bum and a perfectly flat stomach for all of your life is actually impossible. Without the assistance, it's impossible. Okay, so we moved to a time where the ladies were just dressing very hypersexually. And again, I don't think that this is entirely new. Of course, there were women who were dressing sexy often years and years ago, for all of time, I'm sure, okay? But I do think for a time it definitely became more mainstream. And what came with kind of hypersexualizing yourself, wearing things that were very tight. Thank you, Fashion Nova. You know, Fashion Nova came driving in. I know Pretty Little Thing did too. I know they want us to forget now, but they also came in, right, with their truck and released all the spandex, right? Released all the polyester and said, here, right? And actually, a lot of the girls were wearing the polyester one pieces, or, you know, the 2-piece polyester lycra sets, right? And trying to mimic what maybe influencer or celebrities doing. But really what they were being sold is really bad quality, bad structured, see-through leggings and jumpsuits. Okay, so what ended up happening was some of the girls are outside and you can just see everything. You know, you're putting on the leggings and I can see your whole behind, okay? And you may think that you're looking like a Kylie Jenner, or you may think that you're looking like a Black China, or you may think that you're looking like a Lala Anthony, or you may think that you're looking like these women who are maybe presented as the most beautiful, a Lato, a Meg Thee Stallion. You may think that that is what you're giving, but a lot of the time we're comparing ourselves to these celebrities and even influencers, and guys, they are working. Okay, they're working. When you see a Meg Thee Stallion, when you see a Kardashian, a Jenner, okay, wearing their spandex, and maybe they're on a stage, maybe they're doing an interview, maybe they're walking from the car to a restaurant, it's work. Okay, it's work. However, as a consequence of that work and of their influence, which I think it's very clear that they have quite a lot of influence, because as a consequence, what we have is some of the girls in everyday life, you know, they're on the school run, spandex, okay, spandex, cheeks everywhere. They're going to the corner shop, cheeks everywhere, and not spandex in maybe some mugler that might have a bit of quality to it, right? Might not go completely sheer once it's stretched. Instead of that, they're doing Christmas shopping in some Fashion Nova, okay? And you can just see everything, okay? And I do think a natural consequence of that, because as I've explained, it's very, very difficult to find foundation garments that will smooth you from head to toe. And so I think some of the ladies were just like, let's just take it off. Let's just take it off. Let's just freeball, okay? Get the surgery, take it all off. Now we've moved to a place where it's not as similar as it was before, where yes, of course, you may get photographed, you may go outside in something that you don't know is sheer, and you realize maybe if somebody takes a picture of you or if you see yourself in your reflection. I think this also goes in the bucket of figuring it out, right? But we moved from maybe that happening and maybe somebody seeing your underwear, maybe that happening and maybe somebody sees a string of a thong or something like that over your jeans or something like that, right? We've moved from that to seeing complete lips, seeing full-blown lips. I'm telling you, in the last few years, I have seen other people's lips more than I've seen my own. Go online, guys, and scroll, and I'm telling you, you will see lips at least 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times a day. And I do know that there are going to be some people who are just like, you know what does it matter? The female form isn't a crime. It shouldn't be a big deal that, you know, you see a few lips on your feed every few minutes. It shouldn't offend you. We all have it. And on one hand, yeah. And on the other hand, I don't agree. The advice around wearing what you want, this advice, in some ways I can understand it, because I do think sometimes as a woman, it can just be exhausting. It can just be exhausting. All the things you have to do, all the rules you have to abide by, it's just long, okay? Sometimes I just want to go outside. I don't want to put a bra on. I just want to leave, okay? And I do think there are some people who have that feeling, and I'm going to guess this video isn't for you if you're one of those people. I can relate to feeling that way, and I do think that there is an appropriate time to, of course, freeball if that's what you want to do, okay? However, I think the advice that's given around this always misses out context. And so we're saying to the girls, you know, go out, wear what you want. If you're wearing that jumpsuit, you know, that poster girl jumpsuit, and you can't find underwear that fits, because actually for a time we've been seeing a lot of cutouts, right? And I love a good cutout, okay? But what comes with cutouts is sometimes it's difficult to find underwear that you can hide underneath it. So you might have dresses that have like a cutout here, a cutout at the hip. I mean, I use tape, which I would recommend, but if you're not somebody who can or wants to use tape, then you can't really put on a bra because you can see it at the side. And then if you've got something that's open at the hip, you can't really wear knickers because, you know, sometimes the hole at the side is so big that even a knicker with a thin strap you'd be able to see. I do know for some of us, it's not an option to always hide our bra, especially for those of us who are quite busty, right? Sometimes you just have to wear a bra. And I get that, although I do know that there are some solutions for the more busty girls, right? I have seen the tape that kind of comes in one piece that you can use if you're a bit bustier, but I get it, right? For some people, we have to wear bras. And in those cases, I think that finding a bra that maybe fits the color of the outfit that you're wearing, or is just really smooth, or is skin colored, I think making those adjustments are reasonable, and I'd encourage you guys to do those. So I'm not necessarily talking about the ladies where there's just no alternative. I'm talking about those who, you know, we really want to be sexy, right? And somehow we have been led to a place where sexy means we should just see it all. Okay, and I do think that if you are maybe working with OF, maybe if you are an ex-worker, maybe if you want to attract some clients, okay, maybe if you're in adult spaces with adults, okay, maybe if you've gone to a particular type of party, if you're at a particular type of beach, if you're staying at a particular type of hotel, I think it's appropriate if that's what you want to do. However, it seems we have completely forgotten context, okay, and we are choosing to just reveal everything to everyone at all times, okay, and it really does affect the way that we are perceived, and it affects our access, guys, Okay, so we have the hypersexualness going on, which again, if you're trying to attract a mate, if you're trying to attract a client, if you're in adult spaces with adults, may make sense if that is your personal style. However, it's moving into all spaces. Okay, as we saw with things like Houston Rodeo, as we've seen with places like Disneyland, where people are there with their cheeks out. Okay, it's just moving into areas that I would consider to be inappropriate. I do know that there is the argument that some of the reason why we may be choosing to go outside without any underwear is because we need air. Okay, and I agree, we do need air. Okay, balance, the pH balance needs to be there. We need to take care of all parts of our body. Okay, so I can see that. However, sometimes I do think it's either one, for attention, two, as a cope, because I'm not 100% sure why, but it seems as though, especially when it comes to fashion, we are getting more and more apathetic about dress codes. We seem to be more fed up with having to present ourselves in any particular way for any particular occasion. It's like, okay, I'm going to a wedding, but I don't want to wear a dress. I want to wear what I want. Okay, I don't want to wear a suit. I want to wear what I want. Okay, you might have parents' evening. I don't want to look smart for parents' evening. I want to go how I want to go. Okay, you're going to the airport. You might want to put on maybe something presentable. Oh, no. I want to go in my pajamas. It seems that everybody seems to just be fed up of having to do the thing, and so is making up reasons and or excuses about why they can't do the thing.
This whole idea of wearing underwear, undergarments, bonnets, and bathrobes in the airport, it gotta stop. It gotta stop. For y'all to think that it is okay to walk around in things that you walk around in your home, that should be limited to the privacy of your home in public areas where there are children, is absurd to me.
If you are in your house, what you choose to wear, in my opinion, is your business. Okay, and so there's plenty of time for air to be circulated. Okay, once we start going outside of the house, depending on where we are going, undergarments are definitely required, guys. Definitely required. Of course, if you don't care about how people perceive you, if you don't care about other people's opinions, because I do know that there are some people that I don't care about people's opinions, right? But even if you are making content, you're a brand, right? And then you're getting online and you don't have a bra on, guys, we don't have a bra on, or we're going out to eat, guys, and we arrive at the restaurant and we take off our coat and we're flashing lips to everybody. Okay, and we want to be treated fairly. We want people to respect us. This is not saying that it's right that people should treat us differently based on the ways that we present, but they absolutely do. And the way that people treat us can even be influenced by whether you choose to wear underwear or not, and the type of underwear that you are wearing. Okay, depending on the foundations of who you are, right? Depending on your body type, you turning up to a interview with no bra on, you turning up to have a meeting with head teacher with no bra on, people are going to come up with conclusions about who you are, your ability to critically think, your social awareness, your ability to lead, your ability to think comprehensively. Okay, people making up all of those judgments. Meanwhile, the girls are outside with no pants or no pants, no bra, no nothing. Guys, where are we? What are we doing, please? What are we doing? I do understand, again, that there's going to be some of us who don't care. You want to just be outside with nothing on underneath. Okay? And I want to leave you alone if that's what you want. But guys, if you ever want to achieve a goal, if you ever want to be promoted at your job, if you want to find a particular type of mate, if you want to find or attract particular types of friends, okay, if you want to attract particular types of results, we have to be thinking about the details. And part of the details is wearing appropriate underwear. Okay, so there's this lady talking about the fact that she does not wear underwear.
I don't wear underwear anymore. I have not worn underwear since October. October, girl. It's been October, November, December, January, February, March, April. 7 months since I wore any type of underwear besides like on my period. Okay. Why? I'm not even kidding. When I stopped wearing underwear, my pH changed drastically.
Okay, guys. I know it's 2026. I might be a bit too long in the tooth. I know it's 2026. We go online, we talk about everything, right? We talk about everything so that people can connect with us. Okay, so there may be some ladies somewhere who have questions or queries about their pH balance, and so the lady is talking about not wearing any underwear for months, okay, outside of when she's on her period, guys. And we're not here to talk about the pH balance, although I can give you some tips if you want some, but we're not here to talk about that. We're just talking about the fact that it's been months and she's saying that she hasn't wear any underwear. And I'm just thinking about the fashions. I'm thinking about how you can present as put together. And I know put together seems to be like a trigger word for some people nowadays, right? But how you can present as put together, as polished, okay, if you're not wearing any underwear. She may know something I don't, okay, and so she may have this down already, but that is my initial thought about how are we able to present as polished and as presentable and as knowing what we're doing. Okay, yeah, I'm grown, I know what I'm doing. Okay, and so when I go into spaces, you are going to show me respect, okay, and you are going to talk to me nice, okay, because I know what I'm doing. Look at me, I know what I'm doing. Okay, how are we going to present like that if we're not wearing any underwear? This is a question I have.
Drastically. I don't know what happened. I don't know if like my underwear was like just absorbing and keeping all the sweat and like too close to my, and it couldn't breathe, and then like it was just
okay. Guys, one easy tip, guys, is drink water. Okay, we need to just be drinking water. And I'd also recommend knowing where you are in your cycle. There are plenty of free apps that you can download that will tell you where you are in your cycle. And depending on where you are in your cycle, when you're in your house, you can make particular accommodations. Okay, so depending on where you are in your cycle, you might decide overnight, you might wear something looser on your bottom, you might not wear a tight knicker, okay, so that air is able to circulate. Okay, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. Actually, I'd recommend it. Also, no soaps.
But what I do know is that it seriously helped my pH. Let's do a little deep dive, because people are like, how do you not wear it with jeans? Da, 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 da. You get used to it. You get used to the rubbing. It's fine. When I wear...
Okay. She says you can wear it with jeans. Guys, I don't know. It's too much for me. I don't know. I don't know if I'd be encouraging you guys to wear no underwear with jeans. Guys, no, I wouldn't. Okay, I wouldn't. I know she is, and I appreciate that, but I wouldn't encourage you to wear jeans with no underwear, guys. There are so many options. I think if we are struggling to figure out what looks best, what works for us, then we really just need to do some trial and error, especially if you are conscious about the way that you look. If you want to be intentional about the way that you look, then underwear is some of the most important things to consider, because it provides the foundations for your outfit. If you think of yourself almost like a mannequin, it provides the foundations on which the clothes will sit, okay? And the level of polish depends partly on the foundations on which the garment fits. So we have a lady who's talking about trying on clothes and wearing Spanx.
I do a lot of videos where I like try on little clothes on this account, and every couple of months I get into a weird big debate about Spanx in my comments. See, here's the thing.
This video I think is quite old. So Spanx at one time was super popular, but I don't think they have the monopoly on the market anymore. And actually, I do think that there is a gap in the market for a underwear brand that provides very good basics, but includes all foundational garments. This includes waist movers. You know, sometimes they have the little shorts that you can put on that maybe smooths out your bum, that smooths out your legs, lifts your butt a bit. Okay, we need a brand that's going to give us all of that. I do know that Skims is trying to do something along those lines, but all the other very popular underwear brands seem to be disappearing. And I don't know if this is because maybe we're not wearing underwear as much. I don't know. That would actually be interesting to know, but maybe we're sick and tired of being restrained. Guys, I've heard all kinds of stuff in doing research for this video. People are talking about, I'm not going to wear Spanx, I'm not going to wear holding garments because you're trying to shrink me and make me smaller. Guys, one thing social media is always able to do is just take everything so extreme. Putting on a decent bra, okay, and a little girdle, a little panty girdle, okay, to smooth everything out, has nothing to do with your body not being good enough. It has nothing to do with you being too fat or too thin. It has nothing to do with you being inadequate. It has nothing to do with any of those things. At least for me, the only thing it has to do with is, how do I want this outfit to look? How do I want this outfit to look? And I want this outfit to look in this way because I'm going into an environment that has particular context and I want to achieve a particular goal. Okay, that's the mind process. My body is, of course, good enough. Of course. Okay, and if there's anything I want to change about my body, I might be working on it. Okay, I might be at the gym. Okay, I might be watching what I eat. I might be at the gym. I might be on a food plan. I might be seeing a nutritionist. I might be doing other things if I'm really not happy. Okay, but otherwise, it's only about how does the outfit look on me. Okay, I've been pregnant with twins and I have an older child, right? So my stomach at times is not super flat. Okay, depending on what I'm wearing and where I'm going. Okay, if I, for example, were going to a wedding or a black tie event, I am absolutely online looking for waist smoother, Spanx waist smoother, stomach holder. I am, yeah. Is there something inherently wrong with my body because I'm looking for those things? No, but I want the dress to look nice. Okay, I want the dress to sit smoothly. I have a way that I want the dress to sit. Okay, and I'm looking for an aid. For me, is it as serious as me needing to have surgery? No. Could I do with doing a few more sit-ups? Probably. I'm gonna go and do that after this. Okay, it's medium seriousness for me. Okay, if I couldn't get the Spanx, would I go to the wedding or the black tie event and feel completely awful about myself? No, I wouldn't. Would I think it's unfortunate that I don't have on what I would perceive to be the appropriate foundational garments? Yes, I would think it's unfortunate, and next time I would try to find something with a bit more notice.
I don't wear Spanx, and for whatever reason, this pisses a lot of people off, especially when I'm wearing like nicer formal wear. And I get it a lot.
Okay, so she's saying she doesn't wear Spanx when she's wearing formal wear. Okay, and I know Spanx is the brand, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like the holding garments. I would recommend that every time you are wearing something formal, you are thinking about your undergarments. Maybe you don't want to wear a Spanx, especially when you are maybe somewhere that's quite hot. I know it can get a bit hot and congested in the areas. Okay, so sometimes you might not want to wear that, but then it's always okay to pick a different style of dress, right? It's always okay to be considerate about the style of dress in that case.
Not that it's like, oh, well, you need to wear Spanx to look formal. I want to show you something. Let's take this dress. Here's me with no Spanx. Here's it with Spanx. Honestly.
Okay, so she's showing her dress without Spanx and with Spanx. I think that the dress could be different. Some materials are not super flattering, and yes, guys, I said flattering. I believe in seeking out what flatters you. I do. Don't fight me, I do. Okay, I think the dress could be nicer. Okay, I can't think of a better word. The dress could be nicer.
Honestly, I don't think it's much different.
If it were me and the dress, okay, she's a beautiful lady, beautiful shape, I would just pick a different dress.
And here's it with a corset, which is actually what I think people want me to wear, but you can see this dress should not be worn with a corset because you can see the corset under it.
Yeah, so the quality of material and the type of material, the color of the material, the fit of the material really makes a difference. So we should also be considering those things too.
Here's the thing. When people say they want me to wear Spanx, it's not that they actually want me to wear Spanx. It's that they want me to hide my body.
No. See? It escalates really quickly. No. The people are probably, I can't speak for all of them, but most people, or at least I might say to you, wear a Spanx or wear something that's more of a structured holding garment underneath, is because clearly the dress is kind of a satin silk-like material, and that type of material can show a lot. And when we're saying can show a lot, when you're wearing a dress, you want it to look as smooth as possible, as polished as possible. This does not mean that you cannot have curves, guys. It just means you want to make the dress look as polished as possible because you're going to somewhere that is formal. Okay, so we're thinking about the dress code and we're thinking about the standard. The standard there is probably going to be people are going to be dressed quite polished, quite formally. So that's what you want to try and do too, since you're going to the occasion. Okay, this does not mean I want you to hide yourself. How did we get there? No, we're not saying we want you to hide yourself. We're saying wearing something different underneath your dress might look better. Okay, because also I think in 2026 we've got to a place where everything has to look great. Everything looks great and nothing ever needs changing, which honestly, guys, unfortunately is a level of delusion that I think results in getting in our own way.
They would rather probably just see me in a dress like this because they don't actually want to see me.
Okay, I think that's too much. The both dresses could be better. Both dresses could be better. I'd probably say for the second dress, no, the purple dress is actually better, with or without Spanx, with or without corset. The first dress is better. Okay, so I don't know. I think it's really important that we do our best not to really get whipped up into some of the narrative that happens online, because it is very, very extreme and in some ways is very unhinged. Okay, so we've been doing this hypersexualized thing, but also simultaneously to that, especially over the last few years, is that everybody is quite underdressed. Sometimes part of what comes with being underdressed is no bra, guys. It's no bra, it's no underwear. It's I'm going to a gala and I'm going to put this dress over my sports bra, guys. And again, I do know it is very difficult to find sometimes decent bras, comfortable bras. Okay, and I may be slightly controversial, guys, but depending on the occasion, depending on the context, depending on what you might want to achieve, being uncomfortable is not the end of the world, guys. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't do anything to you other than for the time you are there, you might feel a bit uncomfortable. For example, when I got married, I bought something that was like a faja. That's the only way I can describe it, right? So it sucked me in, guys. Could I breathe on my wedding day? No, I couldn't. Was it worth it? Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think there needs to be a balance of how much do you really care? Okay, sometimes life is uncomfortable. I might buy a pair of shoes. Might they be uncomfortable sometimes? Yeah, but I think about, okay, so how much am I gonna walk? How much do I like these shoes? Okay, what is the context? What's the occasion? How good do I wanna look? Can I only wear these shoes? Okay, if the only answer is these shoes, guys, I'm wearing these shoes. And I'm going to wear them for a few hours and I may be uncomfortable for a short amount of time and then I'm going to take them off. Okay, the world doesn't end. Does it mean that I hate my feet? No. Does it mean I want my feet to disappear? No. Do I think my feet are ugly because I'm willing to put them in uncomfortable shoes? No. Guys, I just like a good shoe. I like the outfit, including the shoes, to look good. Guys, so I think there's a bit of balance I think that we could be doing a bit more of. I think a lot of people do want to feel more intentional in how they present themselves, but they don't really know where to start, especially when there's so much conflicting messaging around what good style even means right now and what should be the priority when getting dressed. A lot of what I've been exploring lately is how small decisions completely change perception and how you can actually use that intentionally instead of feeling confused by it. This is what I'll be focusing on in my private consultations, helping people understand how they want to be perceived and how to align that with the life they're trying to build. I'll be opening a few limited spots in June, so do check out the waitlist link down below if you want to have early access. I do think that some of what happens around wearing underwear, the type of underwear we wear, how we dress, can sometimes have a lot to do with wanting to wealth signal, wanting to seem as though you have a lot of money, and maybe using celebrities and or influencers as a kind of guide for this. There does seem to be quite a lot of mirroring going on in society, so you know, you want to look like the pop stars, you want to look like the superstars, and people seem to be using surgeries, enhancements, jumpsuits, lycra, tightness to try and emulate that. But actually in real life outside, guys, you know, I always encourage us all to get outside. Okay, so outside there's definitely a game that we could be playing strategically to get us what we want without feeling like we have to hypersexualize ourselves, and allows us to do it in a way that reflects our personal style, reflects our personality, and gives us space to get to know ourselves without having to put our lives at risk, without having to mutilate ourselves, without having to be self-loathing, without having to be any of those things. You know, there is a really nice middle ground that I think sometimes we go way past in an attempt to look expensive. Are we making sure that we are watching what we eat? Are we drinking water, guys? Are we getting outside? Are we socializing with friends? Are we seeing loved ones? Do we have a skincare routine down? If we are uncomfortable in bras, if we are uncomfortable in knickers, if we don't like wearing Spanx, have we sought out alternatives? Have we tried different things? Have we tried different styles on our body? I'd be encouraging you guys exercise, to do all of those things, because ultimately I think this technique helps us to more effectively get to our goals and helps us to actually be happy when we get there. Because you will find that a lot of people who maybe have lots of surgeries or spend most of their life in spandex with their cheeks out aren't really happy in real life, guys. They still have struggles, and part of that has to do with not spending enough time with themselves, not spending enough time figuring it out, trying to fast track it. Okay, getting ab etching, right, and a BBL and a tummy tuck and some lip filler instead of working out and eating well and reading books and upskilling, which will get you better results in the long term. What do you think about the people's refusal to wear underwear? I do know that there are also conversations about like hygiene, and do we want to have access to all of your DNA everywhere? Right, I know there's that as well. So what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. Please don't forget to subscribe and hype up the video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye.